And down parking, and then we automatically come up and this stuff. And then the brake lights on this part come over and the gates go down.
So while it's still in the definition,
And coming out, go down. Well, yeah, because it was Well, welcome to Cap Crew Wednesday on this February 25th, last Wednesday of the month. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody have a great week so far, and hopefully you have the rest of the week good too. So let's say hello to everybody first. First one in was Truck Shriver. How you doing, Truck? How's everything going with you? Hope you're well. Then Dwight. Can you see me? Yes, we can see you, Dwight. We're having trouble putting comments in the chat. Something was going on today. I was on a stream and my chat wasn't going up there either. And here it was, I was in top chat and I changed it to live chat and then things started popping in again. So I don't know what YouTube's doing now, but that's what's going on. So let's say hello to the rest of the people. Then John's here from Schuylkill River Valley. Hey, John, welcome. How you doing? And then we go down a little further. Everybody saying hello. And then Stormy Rail Productions. Hey, Steve, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you here. Then JD's here. Welcome, JD. How you doing? And then Mr. Kyle Stevens is here. Hi, Kyle. How are you? Glad to see you back. Welcome. And then Derek Alexander's here. Welcome, Derek. How you doing? And I think that's about everybody so far. And then Bob's here. Welcome, Bob. How you doing? So I'm going to go over that one first. The introduction video, when I first showed that on here, as soon as the train entered, the camera part of the train entered the tunnel, we would see a big bright white spot on the whole screen. And what that was, I finally found out, was the camera was trying to adjust to the light difference from being outside of the tunnel and inside the tunnel. So I did some research on how to fix that. And a couple of guys said, try, not that, what I read, they say, lights. So I said, okay, let me get some LEDs. So I ordered some LEDs from Amazon, and these work with Amazon app and everything. So it's pretty easy. And I got one box. I don't remember how many feet was in the box, but it was a long LED strip. It's on a roll, right? So I have two tunnels, an upper and a lower tunnel. So that means there's 4 tunnel openings in the mountain. So I needed to have lights in all 4 tunnels. So I'm scratching my head. What am I going to do about getting the LED wires into each tunnel? I was thinking about zigzagging the wire in there, and it's really tough to get to some of the tunnels inside. And we'll go over that in a little bit. So it took me 2 days to get the lights inside the tunnel. And as I was going, I had the 2 engines pulling the camera car through the tunnel, and then I was just not recording it. I was just looking at the screen to see what it would see, and I eliminated the white screen after several tests. I had the lights were white initially, and that didn't work. So then I changed them to blue at a 25% brightness, and that instantly took care of the white screen. So inside the tunnel, it's a blue light, and that light comes on when the trains are turned on automatically. So it's hooked up to the same routine that I have in my app that turns on the trains and stuff. So um, I had two of the tunnels were easy to get to inside the mountain. I could take the sides off in the back of the layout and get to the tunnels and get to the ends. So now my problem is, what am I going to do about the LED lights? Well, I then found out that on the strips, every so many inches on the LED strip, there is a um, copper, 4 pieces of copper on there. And they're maybe a quarter of an inch long. And you see them every so many feet. So what I did was I took a pair of scissors and I cut it right down the middle of that copper. Then I took some resin or some what's the stuff you use for solder? The I can't remember the name of it now, but I put a little dab of that on each one of those little pieces of copper, and then I soldered on a little dab of solder onto those copper pieces. Then I took 4 wires, tinned them, put a flux. That's what it was. I put flux on the. Then I put flux on each wire end, soldered those, and then I just put the wire on the solder on the strip, put the hot iron on that, and didn't add any more solder, and it sealed it really good. I had to do that 4 times, one for each. You have um, a blue, red, and green wires, and then black for common. So I did that, and I put them on. I put the one strip on a piece of thin board that I had, and I stuck that all the way into the tunnel and tried it out and to see how it worked. And then that worked. Then I had those wires coming to some connectors, and then I cut another piece of LED light strip, soldered the wires on that wire, made it long enough to reach the same connector, connected them all together. Both of those lights came on, and then I did it for the other two. So each tunnel has its own light on the ceiling. Well, the one guy said, don't, the double back tape, the stickum doesn't keep the light up forever. So you have to do something. So I took push pins, and then I pushed on each side of the LED wire. I put 2 push pins up against the to keep the light on the ceiling. So, but I couldn't do that in 2 of the tunnels. And what I'm going to do after I get all the trains running, the lights are stuffed in there enough right now, because when I tested the engine going through, they hit the light because it was hanging down too low. So then I had to get a long stick and try and force it up into in the corner to get it to stay there, and which it did. But it's not going to be a permanent thing. So eventually, once I get done with things, I'm going to cut the top of the mountain off. I'm going to remove the trees, the house, the animals, whatever's on top of the mountain. And I'm going to cut it out. Then I can lift that off. And inside there, there's filling of paper, newspaper, stuff like that that I filled up to make the hills and everything. I can remove that to get to the tunnel roofs, which I'll be able to take off from up above, and then I can put the strip. I can secure it better onto the bottom of the or on the roof that way, and then I can put the top of the mountain back on, seal it, and then some new scenery material and stuff like that, and then put the trees back, and it'll be good. That way, if I ever need to get in there, then I can take that off again and do something. Like say the lights burn out, I have to replace them or something like that. Now, I mean, LED lights last a real long time, um, so I'm not worried about it. But that's um, what I was doing. And then also, if you've seen when the train goes into the tunnel, you can see like I have two cameras sitting there, and then there's a controller there, there's a speaker there. So I'm going to cover up all that stuff, and that'll make it look like it's in a mountain. And then I can cover up the cameras. All you need to do is see the lens needs to be exposed so it can see, but you don't need to see on a camera how the cameras are sitting there. And then I might put some scenes inside there too. I don't know. So that's down the road a bit, but as long as the trains run through there now, um, I'm not worried about it. The video will get a little bit better as I tweak the lights a little bit, and close up some of the tunnels a little. Um, some of the brightness of the lights that you saw on the video is because you're coming in the top tunnel and you can see the lower tunnel lights. And I'm going to close off the top tunnel from the bottom tunnel, and then it'll be all enclosed in a tunnel. So that's the beauty of being able to get into from the back of that part of the layout to do that. So that's what I was working on most of the weekend, and because we had a lot of snow here again this past weekend in New Jersey. I had 18 inches of snow here at my place. Other parts had over 2 feet of snow, but we didn't get as much as the other part of the state did. So then my son came over, and he brought his snowblower and took us about 20 minutes to do my driveway. It would have taken me about 3 hours to do that by shovel. So he comes over with a snowblower and it's done instantly. Then last night we had another snow, and I woke up this morning and there was about 2 inches of snow on the driveway. So I was playing around with some 3D print stuff, and then I said I'll go out there later on in the morning. I will open up the windows in my office, look out, and it's cleared already. Whatever was there disappeared. So I said, oh, that's good. I don't have to shovel it. And my car was all covered with snow, and it was cleaned off. And it was like the snow fairy came and shoveled my driveway and cleaned off my car. I don't know how that got taken care of. So let's see, what's this say? I said hi to everyone in Buckshot Jersey, and no one's seen me. Yeah, I know. That was weird how that happened. I was on Boxcar Jerry's stream too, and I sent him a message because he was asking about something, and I sent a message, "Hey, Wigwag, Steve, welcome. How you doing?" And and did I say hello to Dwight Curley? Yeah, I did. So I don't know if somebody, I just was surprised because I heard other people out shoveling snow already. I said, I'm not going to get out there right now. So it's interesting. So that was the snow that's the weather report here. And so we'll have to wait and see. So that was the weather report here in New Jersey. And what that did, that caused all kinds of problems with the deliveries and everything. 88 to south of New JD today. Yeah, breeze is great. Yeah, well, it was. I don't know what the temperature is. Computer. Current temperature.
It's 37 degrees right now. Today's high was 46 and the low was 28.
So it was 46 today here in New Jersey. Now it's 37. So that's not too bad. So a lot warmer than what it's been. So I said, okay. And I didn't have to go anywhere. I just have to know where. I just had to get stuff from the mail. And you can stop now. So it's always interesting to see how the weather goes around here. And that's one guy said this is the worst weather we've had in New Jersey that he can remember. And I says, no, not even close. This is not even close. We had 2 storms within a couple of weeks, and everybody is going crazy because of all the snow. We had one year in 1979. I bought 2 new Ski-Doo snowmobiles that year, and we were on those snowmobiles from the end of November until April. There was snow on the ground from that time till April that year. And it snowed heavily at the end of November, which was the first time in a long time that happened. That snow lasted. Then in December, it snowed a couple times. It's added on. January, February, March, and then April, the snow was still there. And we were out snowmobiling every day. So this is nothing compared to what, the governor of the state all get everybody all up in arms about the weather and everything. What an idiot. So this is nothing. We had I had over 2 feet of snow from the last storm. That had all melted and gone away. And then this new storm put another foot of snow on my 18 inches on my property, and that was the end of it. So it's just goofy stuff. My first comment before the stream started about to leave. My stream? No. Let me see. I can't see it. No, I still see your comment up there, Dwight. On my stream, no. It's not you guys. It's something YouTube did. Nothing to do with you guys. You have to, you can't use live chat. You have to, you can't use top chat. You have to use live chat or whatever. I don't remember. One of them, it defaults to the one, and then you have to switch to the other. Whenever you go on YouTube to watch a video stream, it defaults to one of the chats. Then you have to switch to the other one, and then your comments that you made in the other one show up in that one. I don't remember which one it is. I can't keep track of them all. So that's enough about my weather stuff. Has been having a lot of problems lately. Yes. Well, last week they had an outage. And now this week, I think what they're doing is they're playing around with settings and changing things, and it screws up people that are on trying to watch videos and stuff. So um, I used to work in computers, and we weren't allowed to make changes to anything, um, on the system until everybody was off the system. So it's kind of hard to do when you're a provider to millions of people, and there's always going to be somebody on from some part of the world sometime. So they got to make changes to the systems when they're being used. But in that case, they should have a test system where they can try things before they go up and think. Yeah, Google. Yeah. Well, that's who owns YouTube, right? So, so just to give you an update on Barbara. Barbara had eye surgery last week, and it was a week yesterday, so today's 11 days, and she still haven't. She still hasn't been. Her eye still hasn't healed yet. They did a lot of work on the eye this time, and she still doesn't can't see out of it well. Each day it's getting a little bit better and better. It's just going to take some time. But yeah, she was complaining to me that the medication they gave her to put in her eyes was making her eyes burn and stuff like that. And I told her, I says, well, what is it? Is a liquid, is a chemical. So that's going to burn. It's just like putting Amdisol on your mouth when you have a cut, it burns. You put stuff on your cuts, that burns. It's a chemical reaction. That's why it's burning your eye. Then I took her to the eye doctor the other day, and the eye doctor told her the same thing. I said, see, I told you. So, um, so, so he told her to change the medications up a little bit, and so it's getting better at least anyway. So that's enough about what she's going through. Yeah, glad that she's getting better. Thanks, JD. I'll let her know. And so um, my SW7 project has come to a halt. I'm waiting for something to be shipped to me. And actually, I'm waiting for something to be made for me. Okay. Um, I told you about that in my last stream, and I got this tool from NWJS company, and they make a flywheel puller. And I got it, and I tried to take the flywheel off of the motor, and the little thing that goes into go on the shaft, it just bent. Thanks, John. I'll let her know. And it goes on the shaft, and it bent. The screw that you turn it in, that bent. The thing around it bent. So I emailed Midwest Model Railroad, and they got back to me and said, um, here's the information to contact the vendor that they got it from. So I contacted them. They sent me back a couple of emails back and forth, and then Midwest Model Railroad sent me a label, and then I shipped it back to them, and it went out yesterday when the mail finally came to pick up my package to send it out. So they'll have it back. I'll get a credit for that. So I was looking on the internet. Thanks, Steve. I was looking on the internet for a flywheel puller of a different brand. That's right, Bob. It happens. So anyway, um, so I'm looking on the internet, and I come across this guy who made this flywheel puller. He makes them himself. He's here in the United States, and from his videos showing how it worked a lot better than the one that I got. So I commented on his video and said, hey, how do I get one of these? And then he replied back, he'll make me one. That was the last I heard of him. This was about 5 days ago or so. And I looked at the video, and the video was 11 years ago or 10 years ago, something like that. Now, this guy, his name is Joe Wohler, Woehler, and his product was reviewed on the TSG Media. I don't know if any of you guys might have seen TSG Media. They do a lot of interesting reviews on products and stuff like that. So his product was reviewed on there. He got, like, the first time he made the product, he got 9 out of 10 on their scale, and then he modified it, and then he got a 10 out of 10. So from their reviews. So I went to his channel. He only had 66 subscribers to his channel. And so I subscribed to his channel. I went into his channel and then viewed his email address. And I said, oh, good, I'll send him an email. Well, I sent him an email, and it bounced back as an invalid email address. So that might have been some old email address that he had, he no longer uses. Looked like it was some kind of company email address. So maybe it wasn't like a gmail.com or an AOL.com or anything like that. It was something.net, something. So I said, okay. So I've been trying to go back on his videos and commenting and replying to him. And I replied to him a couple of times, and then my reply is gone. And one time I replied with my email address in it. And I guess YouTube don't like you to put your email address in there, so they took it off. I don't know why they don't like you to put your email address on a comment. So I replied back with here's my channel, and my channel has my email address in it. If you need to find it, to contact me to let me know. So I've been trying to get a hold of this guy so I can get that tool from him. He's going to make one, and hopefully he gets it made, and then I can move on with the motors in these SW7s. And this, I'm going to make myself bigger. Okay, here's the old SW7 motor, and as you can see, the flywheels are off, right? Well, guess what? I was able to pull the flywheels off with my fingers. They were on like this, and I just pulled it right off. And I said, how's that possible? So what I noticed was the ones that have the plastic in them on the flywheels, I don't know if you can see that, but there's plastic in there. And then on this end, there's a little connector there. That's where the other part connects to it, and it connects and then it'll spin it around, right? So when it has this on it, I'm able to pull these off by hand. So I don't need a puller, but I need the puller that he has, because he made his so that you can put him back on with his tool too. You put something behind the pulley, so it knows how far to push it in. The drive shaft. That's right, JD. So so that's the old motor. And then I had another one. I had another SW7. This guy, and he had a motor in there. And there's the 2 flywheels, and I was able to pull them off by hand. So this SW7 is a little bit different frame than the SW7s that I got. And here's the frame for the SW7. Okay, and what I had to do was to get this new motor in. These are DCC motors. These are Athearn motors. They have the thing on the bottom, thing on the top, just like that. And then what I had to do was in the frame here, I had to cut out. Let me see how I get this. I had to cut out all this area in here so I can get the motor in there. There was a bar that went across here, and I cut that all out. So the motor fits in there now. And all I gotta do is the flywheel might hit this piece right here. If I can get it in a camera for you. This piece right here, I might have to cut that out more so the flywheel fits in there. So a little more milling and with the Dremel tool and stuff like that. So so that's you know, it's been a lot of work to get that the SW7 to accept the motor, and I got the decoders already for them, and I got the boards that put the decoders on. They're 21 pin, and I got the boards for them, and I got the cable management for the board, and for the not the board, for the adapter, the 21 pin adapter. So I got all those parts. The speakers were shipped out. Scale Trains takes like 5 to 6 days to make them. He shipped them out the other day. They're stuck in Columbus, Ohio for 2 days. I don't know what's going on out there. And then they'll eventually, they're supposed to be here by Friday. I don't see how that's going to happen if they're still in Columbus, Ohio. It made it through a couple other post offices out in Ohio. It got to Columbus, Ohio, which is the big hub in Ohio, because that's in the center of the state. And it's been sitting there for 2 days. So no activity. Maybe tomorrow it'll move. Okay. So the storm from the weekend, I had a package come. I had 2 packages come on Saturday. That was the decoders. They came from Jason, the train freak. I got them. Hey, Chris, welcome. How you doing? So I got them coming in, and okay, Steve, sleep well and get some rest. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. And so then another package arrived in Kearney, New Jersey the same day, but it never came. So then the storm came, and then they were supposed to be delivered on Monday, and then the post office in New Jersey was shut down because of the snow. And all I remember is through snow, hail, rain, or sleet, the mail will never be defeat. Well, guess what? That went out the window a long time ago, I guess. Hey, Sam, welcome. Nice to see you here. You have any disposable gloves, plastic glove, rubber gloves, clean gloves, surgical gloves? No. Hey, Mike, welcome. How you doing? No, Sam, don't I don't use those things. I have a pair of gloves that I use for when I do things on the resin printers. That's all. And they're the permanent ones. They're up to the sleeve, and I can take the model and work with it and stuff like that. Let's see who else is here that I didn't say hello to. So anyway, so that's what's going on with that model, and I hope to hear from that Joe guy soon so that I can get that part in. I don't know where he's located in the country, and I really don't know. So, but hopefully he gets that part made, and then I can get these motors back together and get these engines operational. So that's what's going on with that. So in the 3D printing world, I'm bash kitting a roundhouse building. If we go back to here, no, we gotta go this one. No, we gotta go this one. Here we go. And we go here. Okay. You can see the roundhouse here, and that houses 4 engines. Okay. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. So up here, these service tracks are exposed. So I said, I'm going to 3D print a hey, Alfonso, welcome. I'm going to print a roundhouse building. So I started printing those parts, a lot of parts, and I got one wall done that I can show you. And let me get this off. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I hit the wrong screen. Over here, I gotta do that. I gotta bring me back up big again. And this is the side wall of the roundhouse that I'm making. Okay, Derek. So I'll get back to you on that. So this here is the wall for the roundhouse. And then inside, what I did was I glued on wax paper on the windows to cover the windows to show the light differently. And then this is the framework for the, thanks, Bob. This is the framework here for holding the roof up. So the roof parts are in the other room. I couldn't bring everything in here to show you. But that's, and then this has got to get painted. I'm going to use a red color to paint this. And red to sort of match what was on there already. Yeah, it's pretty good size. But and then like here's another frame to go in. Like I have 5 tracks up there that I want to enclose. And like here's a back wall that I painted already. And so, and then on this one here, I gotta put the wax paper on the, yeah, 5 stalls. That's correct. It's going to be. Well, these are all individual parts, Bob. Okay, like this here is 3 parts. This is the right side, center, and left side. Then I glued them together. All the windows are separate file. glued them in. Then I glued the framework for the roof, which are all cut out holes so that the windows, you wouldn't see because this is the inside frame for the other side. If you did that there, you'd be covering up the windows and everything. So how to make one that didn't cover the windows, okay? So, and then the front of this, I have this is the front with two doors that swing open. They're not together, so it's hard to, okay, these doors swing open. What I gotta do is get a piece of wire, put in through here, and then that'll hold the door in place. I got some spring wire and stuff like music wire and stuff like that. I can cut a piece and bend it over in both places so it doesn't fall all the way through. And then I can put like that. Yeah. So that's that part. And then, like I say, these are the back walls that I started painting and everything. Didn't take me long to paint it. No. In the other building, I have the doors and I leave them open so I can bring the engines in and out without having to worry about the doors closing. Because I like the engines sticking out a little bit of the roundhouse so that I can see them. Yeah, that is a roundhouse. Yes, that's what I'm making. Okay, and I made this is one end wall. Okay, and then the other end wall is on the table. So hey Ken Amos, welcome. So the other end wall is on the table, which I'm working on. But this one I had finished, and just wanted to show you that that's one of the things I'm working on. So I'm gonna get that up there, and as I'm trying to get trains running, I come up with these other projects, and this is what I do. So, and so that's a fun thing. Now, who said they were having trouble with the GP7? Because I have what do I got coming? I have I have a GP7 coming myself. It was supposed to be here today, but no, I don't know what Ray B is doing. I don't know where he got his files from. This is my own work. I did this all on Tinkercad. I just took I have the Walters kit, and I just use that to make this. This is easy to do. So there's a lot of files up on the sites for roundhouses, and a lot of people complain that they were having problems. Most of them are ones you have to pay for, and I don't like paying for anything that's 3D designed, because when I make a design, if somebody wants it, I send it to them, and then they can print it themselves, not a problem. Or if they want me to print it for them, I print it for them, whatever. So, but I was on a channel the other night, or I was watching somebody stream the other night, and one guy was complaining that he was trying to print a roundhouse. I don't know who it was. I wish we would have took his name down. And he was doing trying to print roundhouses, and he couldn't get it to work. Okay, and this, like I say, this is going to be a bash kit because on the roundhouse, when I built the Walters kit, I had the floor in there. Okay, this isn't going to have a floor because the tracks are already in their place. So some of the walls between the doors are going to be of different widths because the tracks are a different length apart. So those pieces I haven't made yet, and I got to figure out those widths. Once I get all the back walls made to go around the back of the building and there's two side pieces in, then I'll know how many, well, these, I'm going to make enough of these for all 5 stalls. So I got to make 5 more of these. And then I can put them in there on top of their tracks, and then I'll see how much of a gap I have, and then I can make the walls for those. So, and then it'll be enclosed. And just like the roofs too, some of the roofs might need to be adjusted because of the difference in gaps. Because when you do a roundhouse and the tracks are in there, they're all real close together at the end. But in going towards the back, they fan out. Okay, so and that's how this building is. It's going to fan out. I need about maybe 8 of these to be made. So I'm running out of gray filament. I got to order some more filament. So now, okay, Derek, you said you had a GP7 and you have to cut the chassis? Proto 2000s. That was Chris. Oh, Derek has. Derek said, where did he say that? Okay, Thomas, I have a Proto 2000 DC Loco GP7s. And to add DCC, it would require a lot of chassis cutting too. It looks like a nightmare. Derek, if you can email me a photo of that, okay? Because may not necessarily have to cut anything, okay? The GP7s have room in them to put a decoder, a speaker, okay? I'm not sure if Scale Sound Systems has a GP7 speaker, but he has generic speakers that'll fit. If I can fit a speaker in this SW7, which I can, then you should be able to fit a speaker and a decoder in a GP7 because I'm getting a GP7. Now, here's what you have to check on the DC engines. You have to check the stall current on the engines. And I was on the phone with George at Soundtracks and trying to figure out how to do that. And all you do on the motors, okay, this is the easy one to see, okay, put your you put your meter on here and here, and then you with a flywheel on, it's easier. And then you spin this, and then you see what, yeah, yours are 20 years old. Yeah, right. So those motors are going to be most likely more than 1 amp. Okay. This is like a 20-year-old motor. We found out that this is over 1 amp. This was like 1.3 amps. So you can't use a 21 pin decoder on a motor that uses more than 1 amps. Okay, the 21 pin decoders are only good for 1 amp or less. So you don't want to burn out your decoder. So what you have to do is change the motor, or you, with the GP7, you can get a board. And the boards, the sound, I'm talking about soundtrack stuff. I don't know about ESU or whatever. I'm a soundtracks shop here. So this is what I know about soundtrack decoders. The boards will support 2 amps, not and down. Okay, so if you got to change the motors there, then that's going to take a lot of work. And I used the Dremel tool, and I didn't want to burn this one out like I did with the other one, and I just did a little bit, rested it, come back, do a little more, and then I had a grinder on it and a cutter. I have a diamond cutter on the Dremel tool, and that I would cut into it and everything. Then I would grind it down, check the motor didn't fit, grind it a little more, keep on doing that until I finally got it to fit in there. So I have 2 more of them to do. Now, this here engine, you take the flywheels out and then the plastics. Okay, this here engine, this new motor fits in there like so. And yes, a Keep Alive, if you have a small engine, the guy who makes the decoder buddies, that's Nick's Trains Z or Nick's Train Z or something like that, he makes a current keeper or Keep Alive or whatever you want to call them. And it's called the Power Bridge 3. It's very small. And you solder the 2 capacitors that come along with it on a wire, and then you can put those someplace else, and then that little board can sit on top of your decoder board, and with a piece of Teflon tape on top of the decoder board to protect it, and then you can have a current keeper on there. And he even sent me the connecting plug, because on the soundtracks boards there's a connector for the current keeper, and that plugs in to it. So, and then on his decoder buddy board, you can solder the Power Bridge board onto there's connections on there where you can solder the current keeper on the decoder buddy. So hope that helps you, Derek. Hey Randall, how you doing? Feeling better, I hope? Okay, John, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Have a good one. We'll catch you later. Take care. So, um, so that one fits in this engine, okay, but I don't have the flywheel tool to put the flywheels back on yet, so I can't even get this one to run. So, and I would have to order another engine because this one here, I didn't even know I had this. I found it, and I said, "Oh, good, another SW7." So I'll have two for my upper yard and two for the lower yard. That'll be good. So, two little workhorses, and then go from there. So that's that. And this here goes inside there, and these parts go over here, so I know where they came from. Yeah, I got engine parts um, all over the place. So I'm also designed a holder. I have this here tool. It's called the Work Pro. It's a deburring tool. It's great for 3D models. You take your for filament, and you take it off the what's Chris say here? I did not put a sound decoder in my need to file off some of the weight to fit a speaker in CC. Well, um, Chris, if you go to sound scale systems and you give me your engine number, the model number of your engine, if it's a GP7, GP40, give whatever, and then on his site you can look that up, and he has them by brands too, and you can go in and see if he has a file for it. And if he doesn't have it for it, you can contact him and see if he can make you one for it. So you can always get sound in it if you really want it. So yeah, I know, you heard it right. That's a roof section that this finished. So this here is another thing I was working on, because this is my deburring tool. And the first run, I made the hole too small, so I got to increase this hole so this fits in there. I got these holes right. The deburring tools will fit in there. That's just a brass brush that I was just testing with. So I got them right. But I got to make this hex hole bigger. So I got to go back up on Tinkercad and change it. So it's just got to be. It wasn't that much, but first time, trial and error. Most of my prints are. Oh, so a metal file, and to file off some of the weight. Well, that's the trouble with the older engines. They have all that metal on them. And nowadays, the frames come metal and the motor's attached to that, and then there's nothing else, which makes it a lot easier to install decoders. There's no way to get the thing apart, right? So, yeah, that'd be tough. If it's a GP7, Chris, that you're talking about? When I get my GP7, I'll see what it has in it and see what I can do. But I got a decoder for it, and I got a speaker for it, and I have lights to put in it, stuff like that. That GP7 is going to be added to my passenger train, and that's going to be a consist now. That's because my F7 track cleaning car didn't work on a 15-inch radius, so I sent that back. He got that back. And then he sent me some other stuff. And this is what I got from him. These are 32-foot hopper cars with the track cleaning pads on the bottom. And these will go around the 15-inch radius with no problem. Okay, so I'm going to add that on to that train tomorrow to run that around. And then I added this to my other train. I have two of these, with different road names. And then also I got another spring kit, and that's for, I have to 3D print another car, and that's what I had trouble with. Is thanks, JD. That's what I had trouble with the one that I 3D printed. I added weight to it, and the subway system wouldn't wouldn't move the car. Even when I put the car on the engine, it wouldn't move the car. So then I ordered two F3B units that were powered, and they came today. And this is what they look like. It's a New York Central. Both of them are New York Central, and these are powered. These are Athearn powered engines. I put them on my workbench, and I have a DC system over there. And I ran both of them back and forth, and they ran smooth. So I opened up the one just to check it out, and this is what it looks like inside. So I got a little work to do in there. I got to get the motor out, and it has those push plastic things, and I just push them out, and then, yeah, a powered B unit, that's correct. And then I got to unsolder this wire on the top here off, and I have to solder a wire on the truck. Okay, I get you, Chris. So I then I have to take this motor out, isolate, isolate the motor from the frame, because there's a strip on the bottom of these engines. On the bottom here, there's a strip inside there, that's how the motor gets power. Okay, so what I'm going to do is solder a wire onto that strip, and then these wires will come off. I won't need them. And then I can cut these off, which will give me more room. And then I can put the speaker on the ceiling and the decoder on the ceiling, and then it'll close on and won't have any issues. Okay, so this is a couple hours of work to get this converted over. I have the decoders for this, and so when I took the engine out, I'm looking at it and I'm going, what the hell is that inside there? A staple. So a staple inside the engine. It was just laying on the inside here. I said, oh my God, that would have been a mess if that got inside the motor. So probably when they were running it, because I think it was magnetized to the thing there, and it just picked it up off somebody probably dropped the staple on the track, and that was the end of it. So Tom, do you point the speaker down? Yes, I point the speaker down because then it can resonate out underneath. The sound can go out underneath. If you point it up, you'd have to drill holes in your model, and I don't like doing that. Okay, so I point them down, always point them down. That way the sound will go down, and this is all open on the bottom, so the sound will come out. Hey, Ronald Redu, how you doing? Welcome. So that's tomorrow's project. So, and the roundhouse is, ongoing. That'll be continue to go. So I get the pieces all together and stuff like that. On the other printer, I'm using both Bamboo Lab printers to print the parts for the don't worry, you're never late here. You're never late. I have a baffle on all my speakers, Bob. If the speaker doesn't come with a baffle, I have a 3D printed file that I have, and I 3D print my own baffles, because then I can make them different sizes. Like if say you buy a baffle kit from Soundtracks or something for the bigger speakers, and that might not, the lid might not close because that's just too thick. So then I make the baffle a little bit smaller, and then the lid will close. So it all works. So, and the scale sound system speakers that I get, they sound fantastic, those things. But I have some speakers laying around. I went through my decoder box that I have in my closet to my right here, and I cleaned that all out. I had saved every one of the decoder papers that came with the decoders that I bought. All the ones that I changed over and put in new the new engines and this and that, whatever. And the speakers and all that. I threw all that stuff away. I documented it in my system, a computer system here, so I don't have to worry about it. And now I know what model number decoder was in those engines and everything. So because I wrote down on that paper the engine number that was used for. So, but it wasn't a very good filing system. So I put it in my computer system here that I use, OneNote, and all the information is there for each engine. So I have a folder file, and it's engine number 23, and I have all the things that I did to engine 23 as subfolders underneath the folder of engine 123. And one of them happens to be Soundtracks parts and Digitrax parts. So I have some engines that have some Digitrax decoders in still that I haven't changed over yet. So one day they'll get changed over. They run now, but I'll change them over eventually. So yeah, so I have 2 track cleaning cars to check out tomorrow, and then I got to work on these 2 B units, get them set up with DCC. Then I can add these B units to the subway system trains, which will make them more have more power to pull the track cleaning car. So, and the track cleaning cars, I'm going to paint them to match the color scheme of the train, and put decals on them. I was just testing to make sure they worked and everything first before I did anything with that. So, but that's that. And yeah, so like tomorrow, I'll run the trains with the track cleaning cars on, and they should work and everything. So that'll keep the tracks clean on there. And then he gives you extra pads You see the green ones in there, they're the polishing pads, and all the other ones are sandpaper pads. And the track shines. So, so I have 3 main lines on the lower level. Tomorrow, all 3 will have track cleaning cars on them. So those tracks will be kept clean permanently. And I won't have to, maybe once in a blue moon, I might have to get in there and do something that it didn't catch. Nothing's perfect, but it'll be a lot better than what it was. Then that's that. And then up on the 5th level, there's 4 main lines up there, and the 2 inside loops have track cleaning cars on them, and the 2 outside loops have track cleaning engines on them. So those trains will push the engines around those tracks up there, no problem. I got one going halfway around and I stopped it. I was doing some other things and I just wanted to get it out of the way, and parked it in an area, and then I'll continue running it around. I'll run it around a couple times and see how it goes. Then the other train, I got to move around and get it to the engine, and hook it up, and then let it go around and clean the other track. And then the inside trains have track cleaning cars on there. So, and that'll make it easier. The only thing I have to do manually is my yard and the helix. And I have other track cleaning cars that I can do those 2 tracks with. I got that CMX. There's Harley going out the office. He was laying on the floor by me, and he's looking back in here saying, "What are you doing?" And have to pull the engine apart to see what I did. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of work in converting over a older engine to DCC. A lot of work. And it all depends on the model. And like this engine here, I think this is a GP30. I'm not sure, but I think it is. I put it up against my GP30. There we go, 12 for 12. Can't get any better than that, JD. Thank you. And this engine here, I took off, and I never did anything with it because I didn't know how to convert it, but now I do. I go in there, and I solder wires onto those 2 clips, and boom. So, but I need a decoder for this. Yeah, they need a little work. That's correct, Chris. They need a little work. Nothing is easy. Like, they didn't make those engines for DCC. Now, what do we have with DCC? We have more wires for lights, right? You got ditch lights now. You got running board lights now. You got walkway lights now. You got front and rear lights. That all takes up wires. Now, all that stuff has to be stuffed into the shell somewhere, right? And then you got speakers, and you got keep alives or current keepers or whatever you want to call them. I call them current keepers. And they all, boom. Yeah, you can barely handle a DC ready plug. Yeah, the problem with the DCC ready plugs are that they don't support every model of decoder. That's the only problem you have. Okay. When I bought my scale train engine, I bought a DCC ready. What's the top of the rivet counter? It was DCC ready rivet counter. I didn't want a decoder. And so I took out their board and put in a decoder buddy and put in a Soundtrack's 21 pin decoder in there and a current keeper. It was a lot of work to get that ready. Well, see, that could be, but if it has an 8-pin plug, you got to be careful what decoders you throw in there. Because what brand is it? See, with Atherin, I know that they use Soundtrack's decoders. So when I get an old engine, I look for Atherin engines. No other brand. And like Bachmann's and Atlas engines, I've converted those over from DC to DCC. Not much trouble, but as I'm doing, the more I understand. And it's getting easier and easier to do them now. And I learned a lot from one video of Scott Rails. He did a video of converting an Atherin engine, and he showed what to do with these things here, and that was the tip I needed, and that made me make my conversions a lot easier. Okay, and because nobody ever told me, I watched videos on how to change the code. Like guys put out videos. Hey Russ, welcome. Guys put out videos. Decoder install in this engine, right? So you go to watch it. Okay, Mike, take care. We'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping in. And then you watch the video, and it doesn't show you the install. It just shows you them running the engine after they got the install. So, I want to see the nitty gritty of how to do it, and that's what you need to have. So, a lot of phone calls to Soundtracks and stuff like that, and I got it and everything. So it's okay, but you learn as you go, and you can't be afraid to do a conversion just because you don't know how to do it. There's plenty of people here in our community that know how to do it, and they'll be glad to help you do it. So I never did a video showing how I changed a decoder, from DC to DCC, because I might run into a problem, and that doesn't help anybody else. And most of the problems are my lack of understanding of what's going on. And then I go, one day maybe if I get it flowing smoothly, I will, like converting this GP7 will be a great video, but then I had to mill out the frame. Nobody wants to see that, So the guy I bought the motors from told me you're going to have to do some adjustments to the frame. So I kind of knew that as soon as I got the motors in, and I tried to fit it in there, and I said, they ain't going in there, so I'm going to have to cut it out. And I was glad to see it fit in the other SW7. So later on, I'll order another motor. And I don't need to order any more now because I got 3 of them, but I can't put the pulleys on. Have any of you guys ever taken the pulleys off, the flywheels off, and then put them back on? Do you glue them on, or what kind of glue did you use? That's the only question I have, because I have never done this before. Taking a flywheel off and putting it back on. And does the plastic don't need any glue? Is this like a pressure fit onto the shaft? That's what I'm not sure of yet. So, because, a lot of guys say, oh, you have to do it per the motor. So maybe I'll contact Atherton and ask them about the flywheel thing, see if they know. In an HO logo, no problem with overload. In an HO logo. What do you mean overload? You don't want to burn out your motor. If you have an overload, you could burn out your motor. There's also, see this here, brass inside here, inside the engine. See that right there? It's brass. It's a brass thing, and that's all blackened. You take a bright boy and you run the motor and you put the bright boy on there, and that shines that up real nice, and that'll stop on. When you have black on that, you got hesitation. You'll get hesitations in your engine. So that was another trick I learned. So, but I didn't need to clean this one because I couldn't use it because it's draws too much amperage. So, Derek, check the stall current on your motors, and they shouldn't be over. They shouldn't be over 2 amps. If the motors are over 2 amps, then you can't use them for DCC, because DCC decoders support only up to 2 amps. If you go over 2 amps on a motor and you have a decoder in your engine, you're going to burn out the decoder. On the Soundtrack site, they show you how to check stall current. You have to have a voltmeter, and you put it on your ohm settings, and you touch the 2 points on the motor, and you spin that thing, and then you'll get a reading. And there's a formula, and Ohm's law formula, and that's all explained on that Soundtrack's on their Soundtrack's website. You can watch. They have a YouTube channel. You can watch their videos, and one of the videos is talking about stall current. So if you have an old engine, test the stall current out. If it's less than 1 amp, then it's not so old. But most of the old engines are more than 1 amp. I tested these 4, 5 engines here, and they all were over 1 amp. So I can't use them with a 21-pin decoder. None of them were over 2 amps. None of them weren't even close. But so that's that. Okay, guys. Well, it's 9:22, and I think I'm going to call it an evening. I want to thank everybody for coming in and spending time with me tonight. I appreciate you all. It was fun having you here. I see your dog resting. Yeah, he's laying out there. He wants to play. That's what he wants to do. No, not at all, Russ. No, they don't bother him. Thanks, JD. Doesn't bother him. I was watching a live stream today, and the guy's dog was barking, and I put a comment in there, hey, your dog woke up my dog, because he was out in the living room, and he heard the dog barking on the screen, and he came in and looked, and he wanted to know who the dog was. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Don't forget to catch Jim Tedesco's show tomorrow. at 6 p.m. And I think he might have his satellite service working tomorrow, because I was on the phone with him and he had to cut me short because the satellite guys came, Starlink. So we'll see what happens. All right. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good night. We'll catch you all later and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks again. Good night.